Hello guys, my name is Aske Standberg. I'm from Denmark, representing the students of KIA, especially from the program called Bachelor of Architectural Technology and Construction Management. Aside of that, I'm also a representative for the KIA BIMcafe, a small, you could call it an organization of people who wants to do a little extra to develop and to take an active part in shaping our education for ourselves and for others. So as you see behind me, I hope that you can see the picture here. I brought with me a picture from the last hackathon in February in Copenhagen, and all of these people are representatives from the same small company of people trying to do our best to contribute to the development of the AEC industry. So with that being said, hello from the BIMcafe, and of course also thanks a lot to Damon and Greg and all of the mentioned sponsors for hosting us. We're super happy to be around. So we're going step by step. We have a couple of histories to share with you today. And the first one I want to share with you is told by Nuha, who's a student on the international line from 4th semester. And Nuha is going to speak a little bit with us about her background in the educational system, and also her background with working on Dynamo scripting and the development of that. So Nuha, welcome to you. I hope that you are unmuted and that you see yourself on the screen. Nuha, could you share with us, first of all, how would you describe the major differences from studying AEC and architectural technology in Saudi Arabia, where I know you did some education already before you joined the school in Denmark, and then of course studying in KIA Copenhagen?
Yes, I just want to say thank you so much. It's a great opportunity for us to be here today. So just a heads up about who I am. My name is Nuha Al-Hariri. I come from Lebanon originally, but I was born and raised in Saudi Arabia, and my nationality is Danish, so it's quite a mix, but yeah. Because of my previous experiences in different countries, when I came to Denmark, I came across this new system in my point of view, in terms of collaboration between groups and having group work as a part of our curriculum. It was just a great experience for me to see how powerful it can be for us to be together and present together, rather than having more of individual formats in our educations. And that's how I used to experience it. It comes with many advantages and disadvantages, of course, but I think the most important part is that when you're together, you experience more, and it's a faster way of developing yourself. And it's always, of course, greater to share what you have, because that's the best way of also developing yourself and learning more from others.
So are you saying that the way that we do in Denmark, the methodology of our studies actually enabled you to do more, how could I say, personal development also of how you want to specify your skills in your education?
Of course, it's more because when you're alone, you have to figure out everything by yourself, and trying to own the whole thing and host a one-man show, it's really stressful. I think it's greater when you have support from everyone around you, especially BIMcafe for our case, where we're all together and always sharing what we have, always trying to help students use the most efficient ways. And for me, that's exactly how my journey with Dynamo started, and how I discovered this great, amazing program called Dynamo. And that's how we started to implement and develop something called Dynamo Cafe.
Okay,
yeah.
So prior to the implementation of the Dynamo Cafe, you said a little bit about the BIMcafe, just to elaborate a little bit about that. So the need of the BIMcafe, it came out of a need that students wanted or needed to help each other, instead of just relying on the teachers' lectures and the university's materials?
Yes. It's of course it's always more understandable for us if we reach out to each other, rather than just hanging out there and trying to figure out everything by ourselves. Of course, it's always great to start with yourself, but then you always need something more to reach out to. and that's what we do at BIMcafe. It's a great environment for us to have, and I completely agree with the whole idea of having this in every university, where all the students can just sit together, chill, have a great time, and also at the same time still implement their studies and try to solve their problems together. Of course, it's great to have some help from teachers, but it's a whole complete different experience when it's with students.
And I guess that you're also one of the people like myself who believes that the students is also responsible for bringing in some new action in the AEC industry, what we have prime focus on in the BIMcafe. I just want to mention to the audience, the pictures behind the guys, the other presenters, is actually from the BIMcafe. So you here get a small impression, how does it look down there? We have a lot of equipment, we have a big stage where people can talk, and of course we have a lot of active students around joining us in our endeavors on trying to solve some real problems out in the AEC industry. Nuha, you have been mentioning Dynamo as a key focus point that you're working a lot with. So Dynamo and Dynamo Cafe, is that part of your curriculum, or are you doing something that the university isn't even expecting you to do? Are you developing some special trait here?
Yes, so Dynamo Cafe is not really, or Dynamo as a program is not really a part of our education, at least not yet. I hope so soon. But yeah, so I think once you're in need of something and it's not really available for you, it's always great to find it yourself, and that's what I actually did. I came across Dynamo, and I started to learn it by myself, and at that point, while I was learning it, there was already a small group of students at Kia, in the BIMcafe group, I would say, where the whole idea of Dynamo Cafe started, and we used to host meetings every second week just to sit down together and discuss what Dynamo is and the potential of implying Dynamo in our education. And so it was more of an inspirational kind of semester, just to talk about the program. And of course, we hosted many workshops to invite professionals and to show the students the potential of this program called Dynamo. And that's how the previous semester ended. We didn't really open up anything called Dynamo Cafe at that time. It was more of a conversational thing. And so for this semester, unfortunately, most of the students that were involved just had to leave for an internship. And I was the only one remained with such deep interest in this Dynamo, and I really wanted something to happen because I believed
with the BIMcafe guys.
yeah, yes. Yes, so it just kept running through my mind, and I wanted something to happen because I believed in how much potential we would improve to just improve the whole education or make it more efficient. And so I spoke to our BIM teacher, Joao, and we decided to meet about that. And after our meeting, we came to a conclusion where we wanted to open up something called Dynamo Cafe, not to make it very heavy from the start. It was just easygoing, once every 2 weeks, Tuesdays, 1 hour where students would come after their lectures and just share some knowledge about Dynamo. And so, unfortunately, after discussing all of that and just deciding that, okay, we're going to open Dynamo Cafe, Corona happened, and the same week that we planned to open Dynamo Cafe, Corona happened. And so we had to cancel everything, and it was very devastating, and yeah, for all of us, actually. So the thing is, at that point, we started lectures on Microsoft Teams. And students were slowly starting to get used to this whole online platform thing. And after seeing the success of it, Joao decided to bring up the idea of opening online Dynamo Cafe, or starting
Tell us a little bit more about the online thing, because what we can imagine is that you had a transition from the real deal, the normal drill in the school, and then suddenly you also had to sort of mobilize everything you had onto the internet. Was it an easy process, or did you have to do some special things? Did you have to drag some attention from the industry, some networks out there, or could you just basically open it up from day to day?
I think it was definitely hard at the beginning, very new for all of us. Also, the motivation kind of went downhill because, of course, I was very, very much excited about the whole idea of Dynamo Cafe, and then suddenly to know that it's canceled, and all of these plans and dreams I had were just not there anymore. So coping up with that, as well as trying to experience having a new platform or online classes every day, waking up in the morning and opening your laptop and talking to your screen
Yeah.
was just bizarre at first, but I think you get used to it with time, and especially when you see that everyone is actually willing to collaborate and actually willing to make this work, as Kia did. Yeah, and so after we saw the potential of it, we realized that okay, maybe we should implement the same thing with Dynamo Cafe. Why not open that if we're given that chance? And so we decided to start it, but as a group instead of just me alone. I knew a few other people that were also involved in Dynamo basic level. And so we just met and we discussed what we could do, some special nodes that we could talk about, some scripts. It was very great, at the same time stressful, because we were all beginners, didn't know much about Dynamo, but we knew the basics and we were ready to feed this to the students. So that's how we started, actually. And then we started with every second Tuesday we would have Dynamo sessions where we spoke about some very helpful scripts that we use in Dynamo, save us time, especially in Revit, because we use Revit as our main software here in our education. So yes, I think that's how we started with Dynamo Cafe.
So did you do it only students, or did you also reach out to the industry? Did you have some professional out there actually doing an active part in helping out Kia students coping with the changes and setting up a structure for making these Dynamo talks?
Yes, so we started with just students at the beginning, and it was great success. So we decided to reach out to other professionals from the industry. One of them was A.B. Clausen, and we were so happy to have them with us at Dynamo Cafe. And it was about sharing their experiences and how much they use it at their office. It's incredible. They don't use Revit at all. It's just Dynamo. And
Wow.
so it was great for us as students to see that okay, it's actually been implemented before, and we have such a great opportunity to learn this now as students, and then go stronger when we're actually in the industry. So yes, it was great to have more professionals, and we're definitely going to invite more people towards the next semester.
I guess that now that you have a bit more knowledge about Dynamo and the ways of working with it, you deem it as super important to have it as being a part of the curriculum in future semesters. I could only imagine that you can really make a lot of things more efficient when using Dynamo. Do you think Dynamo applies for every student, or should you wait till you become an actual professional using a lot of technical Dynamo?
No, absolutely not. I think you don't need to have any skill when you need to learn Dynamo. I think that's the beauty of Dynamo. You don't need to know coding. It's actually a way of more of a user-friendly kind of coding, I would say, because everything is all the codes are converted into more of a visual nodes where you connect them together, and it's easier for us as students to learn this rather than coding, I think. And it's absolutely easy. You just need to give it some time, and then it will click at some point.
Okay. Nuha, I couldn't help noticing that when you spoke about your background, you missed out on one critical point that I find super important and exciting. You have told me that before you joined Kia, you actually had this dream of becoming a doctor. And I have no doubt that you can become one if you want to. But now that you have the knowledge of being a student at the BIMcafe program, the architectural technology program, Can you see some kind of similarities in the approach to the studies? Would you also use Dynamo kind of hacking to solve the problems in the medical world, or what are your vision state?
Well, that would be great. I'm not sure yet, but before I actually took this education, I've always had this dream of becoming a surgeon and a great doctor, saving the world and all that. And I was good at the medical field. I actually specialized in it when I was in high school, and I always thought I would become a doctor at some point. But I decided after graduating to maybe give myself a chance to discover myself more rather than just taking the road that I wanted to. So I researched about other fields, and actually the name of our education, Architectural Technology and Construction Management, was what drove me towards looking at this program and what it is, and what is this new program that I've never heard of. So that's how I came across KIA, and I applied to it and I got accepted, and I absolutely fell in love with this education after I tried it. No regrets at all. But of course, I would love to be involved in a more of a link between the this industry and the medical industry, if it's possible. But I don't have any plans yet, so let's hope so.
We have a medical situation right now in all of the world that could use your attention, Nuha. Thanks
Yes.
a lot for sharing your story and sharing with us some of your background. I'm very happy that you're with us today. Do you think you'll make it all the way through the education, or will we have to lose you to the medical school at some point?
No, I've still got time. I'm 20 years old. I'm hoping for more to experience. It's not the end when I finish this education.
Oh, that's beautiful. And guys, if you're watching this right now, please don't hesitate. Contact Noah with your reach out to create some nice Dynamo, maybe Forge stuff, maybe Python stuff in the future. She will be around in the BIMcafe, and of course also the Dynamo Cafe in the future. So do reach out, go to LinkedIn, find her. She's active in there, and she will of course co-collaborate with you guys. Okay, thank you, Nohat. To
Thank
sum
you
it
for
up,
having me.
yeah, thank you for joining us. I'm the one to thank you. Thank you, Nohat. Let's move on. The next guy in the spotlight we have here is from Germany. Tel Schusser is a 24-year-old student who joined us from Germany. I know that you also did some working with the BIM and the Dynamo Cafe prior to the Corona arrivals in the last semester.
Yeah. Hi everybody. I'm Tel Schusser. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, I worked in the BIMcafe already since last semester, and it started all with like helping other students, creating the hub, and improving our education. I'm also involved in the Dynamo Cafe, but more on the side. I do also other things, and yeah, so I work there. And yeah,
and can you elaborate a little bit about your background before you joined the education of Bachelor at KIA? What did you do?
Yeah, it's quite funny why I actually ended up in KIA. I always knew I wanted to build and actually farm. That comes later, but I always wanted to become an architect, and so I started studying architecture in Germany. That's where I'm from. And I got a bit disappointed basically in Germany because we had the standard education system where it's based on competition, and you don't really work with other people, what we do here in the group work. And so I got frustrated, and I wanted to work in BIM, and because I looked into the industry, I knew that this is the new hip thing. So, but when I started asking for it and said, can we work in it? Basically, I got breaked out from my professors, and they said, no, we're not touching that. We don't really know yet how it works. And yeah, we're not sure about it.
Do you have
so
any? of idea, why would a clever professor help this process of developing? Why wouldn't they just go on and say yes?
Okay, I stopped fighting there because I want to continue, and I dropped this education. I went to South America, did an internship, and then worked for a year in Chile in an architectural office, and made a course in Revit, and just started studying on myself. And while I was doing that, I was all the time looking for education for an academic program which is international, working with the BIM technology. And yeah, and then I basically found KIA here in Denmark, and I applied, took a flight back, and started studying here. Yeah, since then I'm really happy.
Are you spending the most of your time in the lectures, or are you actually spending the most of the time in the BIMcafe physically at PCG in KIA?
Yeah, definitely most of my time I spent in BIMcafe. And we open it up, of course, even more than the official opening hours, just to get people in. And even we have some couches, so we sit down and talk about interesting things which are going on in our industry, and discuss it, and try to bring more people, more students, make more students aware. So start getting onto Dynamo, learning it, going into VR, and checking your models there.
So it's not only construction models, it's also like VR. Do you only use it to check out students' housing models, or do you play and have fun and do parties?
Yeah, of course, and we do everything. So it's of course the whole professional part, let's say, but also having fun, and just to create a community where students are coming in and engaging, and also being comfortable, so that when you maybe a student which is not that strong, or you have a problem with something, it's easy for you to come in to ask questions. And we're the staff from the BIMcafe, but also all the other students. It's from all semesters, all skill levels, mixed, and we are helping each other all the time. I mean, you see it here in the background, right? So that's now we have a talk where we which we have regularly, where we explain certain softwares, or that I think is with the Dynamo talk, and really creating community.
Any kind of limits as to what kind of problems that we are trying to solve in the BIMcafe, or would you try and actually support any kind of problem that students might have?
Yeah, I mean, I'm so nerdy. I'm always trying to help as much as possible, and yeah, spend a lot of time there. Of course, there's limits to things, but then we have a good background on yeah, professors, and also contacts in the industry, so where we can reach out. We have mentors, and there's always a solution. So, and sometimes it takes a bit, but it always is a solution.
Actually, I have a good question for you, Tel. It's from Ricardo Farinha. Hello, Ricardo. I know that Pedro already answered this in the Q&A by texting back, but maybe it's good to take it also here in front of every participant. So Ricardo is asking, how did the BIMcafe adjust to the remote learning caused by this pandemic situation? Can you tell just quickly, how did we do the transition from physical learnings to the actual e-learning that we changed over to do?
Yeah, I think it was, we all were kind of aware that Corona is coming and something is happening, so we were alert. And basically in the minute the press conference happened, we all just, because we're a very close team together, so with you, Aske, Joao, and Alex, we just directly, and Pedro, we just basically came together and said, okay, we need to do something. And how Pedro said, we went on Teams. That was the platform we were using already before in BIMcafe, and said, okay, let's try to implement this for the rest of the whole education. And that's basically what we did. So it was a Wednesday when it's all started, and we got it all set up basically on Sunday, and on Monday we could start our regular classes and everything on the platforms. So the teachers were all, we did a lot of like tutorial videos for the teachers and the students and how to do things. And of course, then the first days were a bit bumpy. Everybody had to adjust, but we were basically able to really fast go back to our normal speed. And actually, over the time of the learning and adjusting to the Corona situation, I think the education got a complete new aspect and actually really improved, because we learned it's all about communication, and we basically learned communication skills there. And so
just need to ask quickly before we move on, and this is a question for all three of you guys. Would this have been possible under the educational system from where your background is? Let's say, for example, I know that Nuha, she has educational experience in Saudi Arabia. You have Tel in Germany and Pedro in Portugal. What do you think, Nuha, if you unmute yourself, do you have an opinion on this?
Do you mean how we dealt with the Corona situation?
The transition itself, yes. Would we have had the chance to actually do some kind of difference in other educational systems that you have experience with?
I think it could be possible, but I feel like I believe that over here in Denmark, people take it more seriously, and whoever wants to start an education, they would be hands-on, committed from the start. So I think it would be more successful in Denmark rather than other countries. I'm not picking on any countries, but I think it's more successful here.
And in Portugal, if we should just drag Pedro into the line here.
Yeah, just hi everyone. So regarding this question, it's just I wanted to mention that it was a very smooth transition, and we did keep the attendance rate high, very high. So we get 80 or 90% attendance rate to what we had before, which was very, very good. And we did have the national television interviewing Aske about our solution. So overall, I think it was a great solution, but I don't think this could be done in any sort of formal education that I know of, because we did have very important input, and we did help shape and test the entire solution, and it was proven to be a success. Regarding Corona, I think we dealt with it as best as we could, and it turned out great.
I agree. Of course, the main purpose for the question is that we are four very different people with four different kind of skill sets. Putting us together in a group makes solutions for problems, and ensures that that education actually goes on for a lot of students. I also want to emphasize the fact that we are students, not suits and ties, and we were allowed to make a difference by people who trusted us also, and that's an important fact to remember. When people up in the systems do trust the grassroots, some very beautiful things and development can happen. Okay, but Tel, I want to go back to you. I know that aside of solving the pandemic problems of the world together with the rest, I know that you're also trying to solve other matters, and it's important to talk about what you're doing when you're not studying. So you're doing architectural technology, and then you're also doing something with farming. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I'm basically interested into, how I said in the beginning, I always wanted to build, and I always wanted to farm. So create shelter for people, and create like grow food, produce food. And since a very young age I wanted to do that, and with all this together also save the world, of course. So when you're young, you have the dreams. And so I choose to go onto the construction industry because I see there my skills much better and bring more. But of course I have all the time in the background of my head the farming. And basically the Corona situation made it clear for me that I should start working also on that. and implementing this into my studies. So when we say how do you shape your own education, is I always shape my own education, and now I take it to the next step. So with my wife, we are renting a container just here in the area where I live in Copenhagen, in Refshaløen, and we are going to make a test farm for urban farming. So we grow with hydroponic and aquaponic systems, different types of vegetable, mostly strawberries all year round, fresh produce, and we're growing some microgreens to keep a bit of a cash flow. So we're starting like a real company, but the main focus is on educational purpose, especially for me, of learning, because I want to get the sweet spot how we can merge the construction industry with the farming industry, and basically cancel the bad parts of each industry out and create something good together. So we have a lot of waste in the construction. We have a lot of waste in pollution in the farming industry. How can we use it, and how can we integrate the farming directly as a principle into buildings, so that when people use it, that it's having a positive impact on the whole environment and community and food production.
We're talking about sustainability day in, day out. The politicians is talking about the climate also day in, day out, and of course the environment. Do you think that we should do a little bit more on the educations to take care of the planet? You're talking about how can we implement the vertical and urban farming into the studies of construction management. What is your point on that?
I mean, I wish, of course, something would be really existing there. I know that there's basically the agronomist studies, so you learn about farming and the construction. I couldn't really find an education where this is merged. That's also my very specific field of where I want to go into and specialize into. But I think it would be great, like including into the studies more this okay, how can we actually really do something good, not just building something and how to build something. So how can we think more about the society, the people in a whole, and then of course the farming is one part of it. So
is BIM in farming something that you are going to consider more in your spare time in the future?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm of course modeling some prototypes and building blocks, which are with all the piping, the MEP, everything installed, and basically creating the digital twin from the farms, and to be able to monitor this, not just how the farm is running, how really the people are using the building, and which resource streams are happening inside the building, and yeah, using basically the digital twin, like whichever program, then as a dashboard to maintain this and create high efficiencies and like a positive outcome there.
So this is not only a question about the environment. You're also making digital twins of strawberries and farms and whatever, so that you can actually activate the different kind of staff working with the farms. Also, people who is good with computers and architectural technology. Or what is the main driver behind it? Do you want to play on more than one front, saying that would be the environment? You also want to activate different kind of people? Yeah,
definitely. I mean, creating basically the opportunities to do more things with your skills, like when you're an architectural technologist. But it's really about learning and being able to deal with data and farm it and use it, interpret it. And I think that's the thing also in our field, in the industry, the AEC industry. We need to do it much more to actually like overcome the great problems we have, or like challenges we have, you know, with waste and pollution, inefficiencies in general.
We have been speaking a little bit about the farming stuff, and if we look at the picture behind Tel, you can see that the room, the only thing it needs right now is some hydroponic farms standing in the window racks and so on. I can imagine, Tel, that you have both upcoming solutions for indoor and outdoor use. What will be your main focus at this time when you are starting up your company? Is it to digitize it, or would it be to actually grow some plants and sell them?
Yeah, so the main focus is educationally, like for me to learn and to experiment. We have a water treatment plant in the just as neighbors, so maybe working there that we can use the wastewater and farm it and do farming with it, because lots of nutrition in the wastewater. So that's the main part, the educational and research part, but definitely also making a company with it. So I have already some restaurants, some local restaurants and residents which are going to buy some produce from me. So basically to keep the cash flow a bit balanced, that it's not getting too big into my pocket, because, like, of course, at the moment I'm paying this all from my pocket. So just to finance the research, basically. And
I hope that you will become super successful, so with your new inventions. Obviously, it sounds like if you get a good cash flow and some money coming into the company, you will invent and innovate even more. So yeah, hopefully the best to your company in the future. I have a quick note again from Ricardo saying that agriculture and construction are the two least digitized industries in the world. So I think that maybe, I know Ricardo Farinha from the last hackathon, where all four of us were also represented. And I know that he's quite good with the tech things. So maybe, just maybe, you should get a hold of him and ask him what is the next step for a architectural farmer like you. Tel, thanks a lot. It was super nice to hear your stories about the farming, and I'm looking forward for you to save the world as always. Thanks a lot. Just to wrap that part up, would you be able to do heavy studies and meanwhile doing that also doing vertical and urban farming in Germany, where you are originally coming from, in that educational system?
Not at all. Not at all. Like a system when it's based on competition, you don't have time for anything else. It's always just about getting the next deadline, so it would not be possible at all. And yeah, so, but also, like, thank you for having me and giving me the opportunity to show this. And yeah, of course, if Ricardo is like also interested in that, and I agree, it is the two least digitalized industries, and also the two most polluting and negative industries on the world. So there needs to be something done.
Good point. Sharp point. Sharp point. I'm looking forward to see new solutions and products coming from you on this matter. I will support you as good as I can. And remember, we have people from around the world. In our education, we have international students from all around the world. So people have different needs, and you can actually hack those needs if you understand the complexity of the global ones. At least we have a mentioning from Thiago Tabusa here, saying the digital twin of a hydroponic system would make a great AEC hack. It's very interesting. So now you have two people on the team, and you'll get back to them. I hope you do, at least. It's going to be quite fun.
That's true. That was very interesting.
Thanks a lot, Tel. And let's try to move on from here. So the last stories we're going to hear today is coming from Pedros. You may know the name from previous hackathons as well. Pedro has a different offset than the other ones has, and a different age as well. So you have a longer experience and history with working. I know, Pedro, that the BIMcafe and the architectural technology is not the first education you're doing. Am I correct here?
Yeah. So hi all, thanks for having me. And yeah, the way you make me sound really old, but I'm only 33 years old. But anyway, the thing was, so a bit of a very short story about myself. I did graduate from civil engineering back in the 2000 something, I can't exactly remember. But I did go into the construction site as a project manager, and I did face, you know, those AutoCAD drawings that you get on the construction site. And I did get a somewhat bad experience because I got, you know, like I was very young at that time and managing a very big project. I got, you know, a project collision in some structural parts, and it was sort of a nightmare. So it left me scarred since that point, and I said, I don't know, I don't like construction. It's very messy, and I think I'm going to change careers towards something that's more snappy and reactive. So I decided to come to Denmark, study IT, which I did. So I did the study as IT technician. I did study computer networks, and afterwards I did study web development. And in the meanwhile, I've been working as an IT professional for 3 years, all in all. And I did see that construction was changing rapidly, and I was told that BIM is the new way. And once I actually started looking into that, I actually noticed that there's gonna be opportunities that are gonna come up and that weren't there before. I used to work with AutoCAD, and computer doesn't know anything else but lines. So it felt a little bit weird that all of a sudden you're building on the computer. But yeah, that's mostly the reason why I decided to join back construction, because I do love IT. I do love making systems work from nothing. And now getting everything together, seeing that there's a gap in construction, and there's some skills that that we can try to apply to see where that leads the industry, and that's mostly the reason why I'm on construction again.
So 4 different educations, that's a lot, even though that you say you're only 33. Well, that's a lot of educations. You did way more than I did. I can imagine that you have an idea and some knowledge about the concepts of educations in different countries. Do you experience a big difference from the Portuguese system to the Danish ones?
Yeah, regarding that, I do have to say, and I guess we have a worldwide audience. I just wanted to say that the formal education and the way the Danish education, I at least personally, I felt a very big difference. Because in Portugal, it was a very strict curriculum-based education without space for innovation. You have to do what you're told, and that's it. And that's fair enough. But the Danish way, where it actually enforces group work, and you basically have to solve problems. It's problem-oriented, and you have to solve problems, and the teachers will analyze your solution and not the method you follow to it. Which it's also discussed, but you're free to kind of shape your future and your solutions. I think it was a very great difference from the more strict and curriculum-based educations.
Did you also get the chance to actually implement some of the knowledge that you attained from before this education to your new education? Could you bring something with you that you learned on the IT course, for example?
Yeah. So I did, when I first joined the education, there was this big challenge that I was told that it was a big challenge, which was getting all the students, and we were talking 80 students per semester, getting them all with the same software installed, with the same some bookmarks. Doing the initial onboarding of the students was something that was a very painful experience. Mm-hmm. Coming from the IT world, where you're used to deployments in a large scale and onboarding processes, so we discussed a little bit, and we talked about creating an automation for the installation, where it was all the error checking and checks what's the minimum requirements that we have, and starts deploying all the applications that are required in our education, and also libraries, templates we use in Denmark. Libraries for Revit, all that sort of stuff was included out of the box. Same settings for everyone made the education made the education much more streamlined, easier to support, and also made it easier for the teachers to assist students. I think that was one of the first things we discussed when I joined BIMcafe as a volunteer, that it would be a good idea, and that I'm very grateful that I was able to bring some PowerShell, for those listening at home, PowerShell skills to the table and help the students towards it.
So actually out of the box, joining the education, starting out with implementing a code, line of code, or a couple of 100 lines of code, to onboard all of the students. You're saying that, and that's quite an achievement for the audience. We have at least around 100 international students joining each year, around 300 Danish students joining each year at a school that hosts on all programs around 20,000 students. So it's a kind of a big deal. On our school, at least we have the chance to have something to do with the implementation of the programs and all of this. Pedro, do you think that it's an advantage for you that you're able to bring some of the knowledge and experience that you have prior to this education inside of your studies, and that you're not just asked to be a follower of some streamlined lectures?
Yeah, I do think it has some sort of advantage, but it's not. It doesn't set me as a wild card in any way, because the thing is that about the ideas, and it's very funny to listen to some of my colleagues which don't have a web development background, which don't know anything about databases or getting data from A to B, listening to their mindstorms and just being able to chip in and say, okay, you want data from here, put over there and process this way. Yeah, we can do it this way. You know, it's funny to see that the construction people have the right mindset to solve the problems, but there's now, because we're tending more towards digitalization, where we need to shape and massage the data to get it to exactly the way we want and where we want it.
Pedro, shaping and massaging data. Maybe some from the audience do remember your face and your name and your ideas from before. I think you're way too polite. I need to stress the fact that you actually was on the winning team for the last hackathon. Can you speak a little bit and tell us a little bit about the development that you achieved doing the coding for that project?
Okay, so we were invited as BIMcafe by our teacher, that he was saying, you know, it's going to be great, you're going to meet a lot of people, and that's the most important thing, to know where the industry is right now. And okay, we as students, I guess we all here sitting on speaking on this conference, we all accepted without really knowing how it was going to be. So we accepted the challenge, and the thing was that we needed to. Our project was a digital twin based, where we'd have some sort of tracking of people locations using Wi-Fi signals, and it was sort of the same thing where simple roadblocks in an IT point of view, from at least from my point of view, where is getting data from sensors stored into a database. That's web development. It's not very special when you know, like when you talk with somebody from IT, it's going to say it's nothing really special. And I honestly, looking back at my solution, you know, you always think I could make it better, yeah, of course. But it was a skill that I saw that it was in very high demand. It was very surprising for me to see that the construction industry is tapping on different sciences right now. It's no longer, you know, just concrete and Excel and AutoCAD. It's tapping in, and it is changing rapidly. That's how I feel looking back 10 years ago when I first started in civil engineering.
Okay, so you're saying that once again, you are being able to connect some of the dots from the construction industry and the IT branch, and you can actually combine your skills in ways that you didn't think was possible prior to joining this education, and possibly also prior to joining the BIMcafe? Yeah,
it's just something that I wasn't aware 10 years ago, that the industry is requiring, because data is already there, everybody has data. And I'm pretty sure if you don't know Ricardo Farinha, you should probably follow his Project Wisdom, which I I think it's an amazing project and really, really, you know, like leading. I honestly thought it was a great idea because the data is already there. Ricardo knows it, and most people would agree when you say, okay, project, they have data, they have metadata. It's been done a million times. It's the same project. And it is true. Data is already there. It's just that we need to find ways to get data where we want it and shape it and keep it together for the life cycle of the entire construction. And not only the construction, but the next design phases could also benefit from what you learned. And that's where the construction, I think, it's gaining momentum on. It's building a legacy that remains and builds up. I don't know if blockchain will play a part in it, but I probably think so.
Okay, I have a good question for you. Back in the days, if you see from a philosophical approach and a perspective, you had something called la lingua pura. It was the clean language. When you speak about la lingua pura, you are most possibly referring to either mathematics or you're referring to English, depending a little bit about where your standpoint is. Would you, as an IT guy working in the construction industry, think that the new la lingua pura, the clean language in the future, would actually be coding, even though that you are on a construction education?
No, I still think that to construct, you need to not forget about bricklayers and bricks and all that sort of thing, because there is a lot of improvement, I think, in the design phase, and we're doing that right now. We're improving the design phase dramatically, but I think that there is, of course, room for improvement on also the construction phase. But I don't think coding will be required, and hopefully not. I really would hate to imagine a construction office where everybody needs to be a coder, and I don't think it should go that way. I think we need to shape the tools, create tools to help people, such as Dynamo and some other tools, because those are the tools that help on those mindstorms that I was talking about earlier, where some of my colleagues would brainstorm and say, I want this there. But if you don't have tools such as Dynamo and some other tools, of course you're going to need somebody that knows IT and makes a custom solution, which I don't think it's optimal, at least from my point of view. But yeah, I'm a student anyway.
So it's not only a matter of being able to code or to do mathematics or to speak English. It's also a matter to be able to combine all of these skills in one group, and that's essentially something that we have been speaking a lot about. The group work, the ways that you're able to combine your skills with other people's skills, cultural backgrounds, and mindsets, so to say. Guys, I want to wrap this up by saying that I'm extremely happy that all three of you joined us on this presentation. I'm very happy that you wanted to come with me and share your stories. Just to say a little bit about mine, I'm Aske Standberg. I'm 32 years old. My background is not from education at all. In fact, I used to be in the hospitality and service industry, so I have a different approach to my studies. What I find extremely exciting about the studies is that I'm able to actually implement a lot of my skills that I've attained during the years, working with human beings and HR events and so on, and take it directly into the studies of Bachelor. As you see, we are a group here that just needs to sit together, and then we are generating a lot of great potential solutions for big problems. And I'm very honored to be around you guys. And with that being said, I'm also very honored that the AEC Hackathon team wanted to invite us to this event. We'll surely be around in the future as well. As I mentioned to begin with, the guys behind me here is all part of the team. So next time we'll bring some more, maybe also a participating team that will solve a lot of great problems for you guys. So with all of that here, if you guys have anything in the Q&A, please state it, and we'll be able to answer as good as we can. And thank you too, Ricardo. And we are trying our best to inspire our peers, and hopefully we will not lose the contact with guys like you also wanting to reach out a little bit to us. I do insist that by reaching out and connecting the students to the industry as the hub in between, the BIMcafe in between, we are actually able to accelerate the development of the entire AEC industry. It's important to bring the fresh minds into the field to do some great work out there. So with all of this, Damon and AEC, thanks a lot. I think this is everything we have got for now.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, this is it. I thought there'd be more. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. This was perfect.
Yeah, one more hour if you want to go.
Yeah. No.
We can keep discussing.
Yeah, we have another session. Well, with that though, what I would like to see is, and give it some thought. We don't need an answer now, but it'd be great to see a Dynamo Cafe session, right? What we're doing with the event is that attendees, as y'all know, in Copenhagen, right? It's our event. So with that, if you're interested, it'd be great to spin up a Dynamo Cafe session, because we have people in the hackathon now that are looking to up their game. Everyone has to. And so this time we have some industry lurkers. I know some people that have been in the industry for a few, decades in some cases, that need to up their tech game. So we're rooting them out. So if y'all are interested in doing a BIMcafe session, just even for your own students that can join or something like that, that would be such a treat. So please give that some thought.
We'll give that some thought, of course. And I also want to say that, and it's important, even after the summer holidays and the vacation, we're continuing doing Dynamo Tuesdays. Nuha is in the front place of that, doing a lot of good presentations with both professionals and other students. And guys from the AEC Hackathon, please join us. Also, I want to say that we're going to host a lot of BIM talks from the BIMcafe format as well. Everything is online streamed, and we are trying to make a lot of different kind of approaches to it. And we want to actually connect as much as we can with the industry. We do believe that the industry has a great role to play in our studies.
Yeah, I want to emphasize this. We really, even if we have no Corona anymore and we are starting to be in the physical places again, we still always have the stream running. So we will continue with that. We will always be online from now on, because we just saw it brings so much advantage to our education and to everybody. And even if you just can't attend to one session, you can just rewatch it, and this knowledge is not lost, and it's saved, and it's always accessible. That was one of the biggest positive feedbacks we got from all the students.
And I'm sure that Nuha, you are very interested in making some kind of movements around the Dynamo sessions, right?
Absolutely, and I think as Tel mentioned, we learned a lot from this Corona situation, especially that using an online platform, you can always record. And so even if you couldn't attend our Dynamo sessions physically, you could always rewatch our sessions. And we would always be happy to hear from you and collaborate, just reach out, and we're always there.
Sorry, I think Damon did post the LinkedIn link, and I think that would be a great place to start if you all want to connect with us, because we will be posting that.
Yeah.
We do post regularly.
Exactly.
We do post, and we're trying to keep it as updated as we can. Of course, we're not language professionals, so bear with us. We are trying to communicate to a very broad audience from all around the world. It's the content that is the important part, and the will to go on and to be a part of the development of the industry. And that's what you need to focus on with us, of course. Thanks, guys.
Thank
All right,
you.
bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.